Good evening. I'd like to call to order the October 1st, 2024 regular board meeting. I'd like to announce that the meetings of the Mechanicsburg Area School District Board of Directors are being recorded and live streamed for the purpose of transparency and increased public access. The live stream, along with the recordings from previously held meetings, can be found on the school board's YouTube channel. At this time, if we'd all like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll have a brief moment of silent meditation. To roll call. Mrs. Swigert.
Mr. Bradley.
Here.
Mr. Frangel.
Here.
Mrs. Huff. Here. Mr. Kickline.
Here.
Dr. Lebo.
Here.
Miss Morgan. Here. Dr. Rhodes.
Present.
Mr. Senker. Mr. Rupp.
Here. The endorsement of agenda. Do you have any changes to the agenda for tonight's meeting?
There are no changes, and the agenda will stand as written.
Reading of the meeting of the regular board meeting of September 10th, 2024. Do any board members have any questions or corrections to the meeting from the September 10th meeting? Seeing none, we'll accept it as it is printed. Move on to item 2, hearing of visitors. There will be 2 opportunities for public comment this evening. As a reminder, public comment is limited to residents and taxpayers of the school district. At this time, we have reached the first opportunity for public comment. This opportunity is reserved for comments related to items that are listed on the evening's agenda for a vote. A second opportunity for public comment will occur at the end of the meeting. The second opportunity for public comment is reserved for comments on issues not listed on the agenda and not being voted upon. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and requires community members to observe a reasonable decorum. If you'd like to address the board, please come up to the podium. You can share your name and the municipality in which you reside. This is for public comment of items that are on the agenda tonight for a vote. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, reports and presentations, item 3.01. Superintendent of Schools report, Dr. Pitts.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll start just by sharing a brief update on my entry plan here in the opening weeks of school. I had the opportunity last week to participate in the first 2 sessions of PASA's new Superintendent's Academy. As part of that, I got to spend a couple hours fact-checking Mechanicsburg's former superintendent who was running one of the sessions. So his stories was, and he gave some good stories, and they were all honest, so they all checked out. But I'm sure to keep them honest. But good opportunity there through PASA, and I have another 2 sessions, two-day sessions coming up throughout the rest of the year with other superintendents from around the state. There's 42 of us that are in that. And my understanding is that there's more than 50 new superintendents, which is about 10% rollover of new superintendents from last year when they did this academy before. So, and that's year over year that they see each year, that kind of turnover. So thank you for your support in me being able to participate in that. Second item in my report is our opportunity for some board engagement. So you might remember that the last couple of years, rather than having the same student come to each board meeting or reports coming from the same school each time, now we are in a rotation where we have different schools and different programs coming to be able to share with you and allow you the opportunity to engage with our students and staff and the amazing programs that we have going on in the district. So today's is a little bit of a combo platter. We have the collaboration between Elmwood and the high school, and in addition to that, we'll be hearing a little bit more about a number of external programs that we've had going on here in the district. So all three connections there between Mr. Underkoffler from Elmwood Academy, Mr. Reedy from the high school, and Mr. Harris representing our external programs. So I will turn it over to them to take it away.
Thank you all. Joe Underkoffler, principal of Elmwood Academy. It may seem a little strange that Elmwood and MASH would co-present here together, but I would love for you to, as you listen, to be able to hear some of the connections that we are making towards our goals, our comprehensive goals all together. So I'm going to start here with a little story. I haven't always been principal. My very first contract position was in a second grade classroom at Northside Elementary. And so once upon a time, there was a young girl in that class who had a teacher with long flowing blonde hair. And the student really made an impression on that teacher. And so at the end of the year, I received this note from her. Dear Mr. Underkoffler, you were a great teacher this year. Thank you for coming to my baseball games and all that stuff. I will miss you a lot in third grade. I'd like for you to draw the attention to the teacher there with the long flowing blonde hair. It was never that flowing, but so she made quite an impression on me. So in order to be able to still invest in her, I saw a lot of leadership in her. And so I was running an intramural program at the time. And we were hand selecting fifth graders to be able then to be leaders for our third and fourth grade program. And so there she is right there, the first girl on the right side of me there. So she, after Northside, she went off, and I didn't hear too much from her until later. When she was a student at MASH, she asked if she could come and be an intern for me. So I give her a lot of credit. This was her dream all along, to become a teacher. She knew what she wanted to do. She had programs afforded to her to be able to start this out early. She was an intern for me then in third grade, and I received this note then from her at the end. Thank you for the amazing opportunity you gave me this year. I absolutely love being so involved with the children and the materials. I'm so blessed to have gotten the chance to teach, to have a glimpse of what my career will soon be. It's absolutely crazy. I was with you in second grade to 12th grade. I especially want to thank you, not only you, but your wonderful family. I've grown to love Eli and Jonah so much. A little sidebar there. So she then was a buddy in the child development class for my own boys, as they were then in the preschool program. So a lot of overlapping here. I knew for certain that we would stay in touch. Thank you for everything. So she went off to college. She became elementary education at Westchester. She completed her degree. Fast forward, after she graduates, she becomes our building substitute at Elmwood Academy. Now I'm a principal. And I remember saying to her, Talia, consider this a job interview. Be self-directed, be out there, listen, learn, figure out who the best teachers are, learn from them. And so she really did that on her own. Again, that self-directed nature that she had. So then the year later, we hired her as a full-time teacher, and she still is one of our fourth grade ELA teachers. So again, a lot of credit to her. This is neat for her to be able to know what she wants to do and have those pathways all along the way. So MASH, that's nothing new. But what it was new for us, when you think about belonging, is to encourage our staff members to be thinking through, hey, what about the people who aren't like Talia, who don't know that what they want to do when they grow up? Perhaps they know that they enjoy working with kids. Can we kind of speak into them? And so last year, I asked my staff to be thinking about, okay, who are the current juniors who will then at the end of the year be course selecting what their senior year will look like, and how about consider writing them an email saying something like, I see something in you, have you ever considered being a teacher? Maybe this MASH internship is for you. And so I will say that 2 out of our 5 that we have at Elmwood are a result from, or actually our orchestra teacher reaching out and nabbing 2. Now one of them would say, and he's going on to Westchester for music education, the other one has no plans to be a teacher right now, but his mom tells me, who's a school psychologist, thank you so much for getting him in. I hope that at least maybe he will either rule it out or say, hey, this is something here. But it is neat to be able to see that continue. And for us as teachers to still speak into our students' lives. So I want to draw our attention here to the bottom portion there. This is a direct snip from our comprehensive plan. We still see ourselves as Elmwood Academy teachers and what we're doing, partnering with MASH to be able to see this come to fruition in perhaps a back channel way. Developing high quality educators, growing through engaging in purposeful professional development. That can start before they even go to college. Our schools benefit from rigorous practices to have committed and talented educators with diverse backgrounds. We have a lot of students here with diverse backgrounds. And so that's happening, and that continues forward. What's new this year, and actually working closely with Mr. Harris, is creating other pathways for perhaps growing a diverse workforce, perhaps speaking into our own students even as they're juniors or seniors. Again, maybe this is, so we have one student that is taking us up on this new course, this Chance Yanowski. Now, I heard perhaps that his mom says you're just not taking another year of Spanish. I don't know, but for whatever reason, he's piloting this for us, this Exploring Education internship. And so I've created a schedule with him where every day of the 6-day cycle, he's visiting 4th grade ELA, 4th grade math, 5th grade ELA, 5th grade math, phys ed, school counseling, art, reading specialists. I've given him a plethora of experiences for him to be able to either rule out teaching's not for me, or perhaps say, hey, this teaching thing is pretty cool. So it's neat to be able to see him take it. But I'm not here to just speak about the things that are going on at Elmwood. I'm here as a small little tidbit of how it's fleshed out, how MASH continues to partner with Elmwood. We'd love to be able to continue to open up our doors. We have 5 interns this year who are MASH seniors, not just all in music ed. And so that's really neat to be able to see. But there are other amazing internships going on at MASH. And so I want to kick it over here to Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to see you all tonight. We appreciate the service that you do to our district. And we're very delighted tonight to have 3 of our seniors with us. If they could just come on up front here, we're going to do some introductions and kind of weave in their stories tonight to what Joe was sharing about being intentional with seeing something in our students, being on the journey with them and their parents as well as they kind of think about what they want to do, what challenges in the world do they want to take on, what passions they have inside of them that they want to unleash into the society that they're doing that now. So if we could, let's have them introduce themselves here. We'll start, how about with Nick over here?
My name is Nicholas Covert, and I'm in the internship program as a senior at the high school, and I internship with the Mechanicsburg Fire Department.
My name is Maddie Fissel, and I'm also a senior doing the internship program, and I'm currently interning in a first grade classroom over at Northside Elementary.
My name is Paige Jones. I am also a senior doing an internship at Mechanicsburg Middle School in 7th grade English.
And these three students are a small sample of a large population of seniors that are out in community during the day. Can you believe it, right? Think about when we were in high school, right? The thought of having students out doing something. I know it has happened in the past, but really the opportunities that we're going to share in a moment are just kind of where we've been as a school and where we're going to be going down the road. And so they're on the spot a little bit. And so what they're going to share is a little bit about just their experience, what it has affirmed in them, but also what they're excited about, how this opportunity is going to help them with post-high school. And then from there, we're going to kind of share a little bit about our programming that's available. I'll have Mr. Harris come up as well. But Nick, what would you say was, if you could share a little about your experience at the fire department, what made you go into that internship, and what are you learning about yourself and your community through that?
Yep, so as I said, I'm an intern with the Mechanicsburg Fire Department, and I think one of the biggest things was a dedication to service. So my whole life I've always loved volunteering, giving my time to serve the community. And I had a slight connection with the fire chief, Chief Gary Neff, and he's the chief of the fire department in Mechanicsburg. And so one day I approached him at a meeting and got into contact with him about this internship program. And I knew that this internship program was an opportunity at Mechanicsburg, but I didn't know how it was going to work with the fire department. I had an idea as to the freedom that I would have in the internship program at MASH, and I thought it would align pretty well with the flexibility of some volunteer fire department work, and absolutely align with my community service. So I ended up approaching him, and so we began piloting an internship program. So I've been a part of the Mechanicsburg Fire Department for around 2 months now. It began with me applying to the Mechanicsburg Fire Department as just a regular junior firefighter. So at the age of 18, you can begin your full firefighting works, but under that, you need to be a junior firefighter. But I began as a junior firefighter, and then I began getting in contact with the chief, another chief at the fire department, to organize a schedule and work out my schedule for the fire department. And so what I do on a daily basis is every week, the week prior, I send out my school schedule to my fire chief, and he puts together a schedule for me to go along with at the fire department. And if you're not familiar with volunteer fire department and volunteer work, volunteer fire department and the firefighters they're not always in the firehouse, and they're not always right there, but sometimes they're on call, but sometimes they're doing work in the firehouse. And so my schedule consists of training, a lot of training, so I'll always have an officer, another firefighter there with me, and he puts together a comprehensive plan for me to do training at the fire department. And as I went on with my internship program, I found that this community service was really something that struck very deeply with me, and I feel like it is something that I definitely want to dedicate more time with after high school. So I ended up doing a little more research and getting in talks with some more people, and I'll be starting my national certification for firefighting in November. So that'll be the next step, and the internship program just helps affirm or take away from the belief or the interest that you may have in a certain profession. And for me, at least in my experience, it's definitely cemented a lot of the service that I like to do in the fire department. So, well done.
And again, I assure you, this is a sample of very incredible stories with our senior students. Some of your children who have gone through it, maybe had some of these experiences over the years. But some key words, going back from Joe's talk with you, seeing something in somebody, affirmation of something they want to do, refining maybe what they don't want to do, but also it connects with belonging, not only to a group, but something broader than your high school, to get you connected to a service, it gets you connected to something broader that the community needs, is something that we're very excited about in our students. So well done, Nick. And then Maddie Fissel, would you share a little bit about your experience?
Yeah.
And the same kind of questions. What kind of work do you do? And also, how has it affirmed your interests, passions? Yeah, can you speak to that?
So as I said, I am interning in a first grade classroom over at Northside. I got introduced to this program, honestly, from my lovely career development teacher over there, Mr. Harris, last year. And the very helpful, what's it called? The Project Dreams office at the high school. They were very good about being vocal about it and letting us know about all of our opportunities. And then my friend, the teacher I'm currently with, my friend did an internship with her last year, so I was able to connect with her, and she was very awesome with creating a flexible schedule. I'm also currently taking all of my classes through Messiah. I'm participating in the Educators of the Future program at Messiah, which is like an internship and some online classes and that. So as of now, I don't have any classes in person at the high school. I'm taking them all through Messiah or Keola. So it is very nice, and it makes my schedule very flexible, so I can go in whenever I want to during the day, but I typically go in for a few hours in the morning, and when I'm there, I help out around the classroom, I spend time with the kids, and I think it's just been a great opportunity for me to really experience what it's like every day in a classroom, because I've gone into some classrooms for job shadows or other stuff like small periods of times, but I haven't really gotten to see every day the structure and the routine and how special kids act on special days. And in the class, there's a few special ed kids in my class, so I've also gotten to experience that. And then I think that'll help me in the future because I can see what age group I want to work with if I want to become a teacher, but also special ed. I'm planning on attending Shippensburg University to major in education, but I think this opportunity has just been great. It's given me a real life experience. Like I really feel like I'm in the classroom, hands-on with the kids every day. So yeah, I think it's given me a good opportunity and a good experience to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, these are the things when you hear our students talk. It's what it makes our life fulfilled. It connects the dots. It gives us worthwhile work. It affirms what we do. Love what she shared there. Think about the flexibility of the schedule, which we'll talk about when our student speakers conclude tonight. But also the flexibility of our partners and our partnerships that have been sought after, and Mr. Harris will be speaking in a few moments about how important it is to preserve these partnerships and that relationship between the two entities. I love that she is feeling the impact in our work and seeing that firsthand. It's well done. Paige Jones is next, and I didn't realize this till late yesterday, but they're actually cousins. I didn't realize that. Pretty cool. Paige, would you share a little bit about what your experience is? And same kind of question there.
I'm always someone who from a very, very young age, knew I wanted to go into education, specifically with older kids. And when talking to other people doing internships or teaching, I was always a little nervous because they tend to stick towards elementary school and kindergarten. But I was able to get into contact with a friend of mine's mom and put together, working with her, to be in the classrooms for third and fourth period. Just by having those periods separated, I'm able to feel as if I get almost a bit of a boost because I get to see the dynamics of not just one group of 24 kids, but another group of 24, and can truly understand how different dynamics will act. When I did my job shadow with a different middle school teacher, the greatest advice they ever told me was get as much experience as you can as early as possible so you know exactly what you're getting into. And I'm very glad that the high school and the middle school have been able to give me this opportunity to go in every day. well, there's, there are certain vulnerabilities that come with it, and knowing that it isn't, and it was eye-opening kind of realizing that that teaching isn't just going in and giving kids instructions and helping grading papers, but it's also listening to their struggles and having them confide in you when they have a lot going on in their home life, and being able to help coach them, even if you don't know how to always react. And I am very thankful that I'm able to, just in the first short amount of time, able to develop a deep bond with the students in the classroom, and also with the teacher I am doing the internship with. Yeah, sorry, this.
Love Pitch's reflection, and part of the internship experience is routine and rhythmic reflections that our students will do. So it actually matches really well with our graduation project that students have as part of the graduation requirements of our high school. And sort of things weave together, so they can kind of, one thing informs the other, and as they graduate, they commence to their next adventure, they've had these experiences with them. So really proud of our scholars here. So thank you again for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to just share a few more things here. You guys are permitted to head out if you want, or stick around for a few minutes. They all very busy students and active in our community, sports and activities, so I appreciate that. So we wanted to have our students present to you just a sample of some of the opportunities. I wanted to invite Mr. Harris here, longtime professional of this district. I have the great honor to serve the high school in the position that he held for 18 years. It is truly a dream come true and an honor. He's a great mentor for me. And one of the things that Dr. Bitt shared this year was this concept of stewardship. And so I'm very grateful for Mr. Harris. His leadership and external programs is second to none. So I've asked Mr. Harris to come on up and just speak to the sampling here of what you see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reed, Dr. Koffler. So first, also a thank you to the board. I think you heard something already tonight about flexibility of schedule, flexibility or willingness to take risk and try things, kind of be on the front edge. The district has had a long commitment to career exploration, and we've started the graduation project almost 20 years ago, or actually a little over 20 years ago. And we stuck with it as a career exploration model, even when the state said it was no longer necessary and we didn't have to do it, but we believe so much in this opportunity to get students to start to ask questions about the future. And it's something we've talked to those of you who've been on the board for a while. This isn't a new topic. But what is new a little bit is having the opportunity, thanks to the flexibility of the high school schedule, to actually do some things that are of greater chunks and allow us to be open to new partners. And I think of our students, I think school partners are one thing, because we are all in the same system under the same umbrella. Maybe we can tweak things a little bit, but we can't tweak the fire company, or we can't tweak other programs. And so we needed a schedule and a program that has larger chunks of time and more on and off ramps, if you will. And so the other thing that motivated us was right around the time we wrote our vision, which I think Mr. Reed's going to mention a little bit. We started talking with our seniors about the senior year being more like where they're going and less like where they came from. And so originally we actually referred to some of this as the senior alternative, which you may have heard as a parent, but basically to incentivize the students to step out a little bit and try some new things. We give them more flexibility in their schedule, something that we weren't used to doing, as Mr. Reed alluded to earlier. So traditionally, some of these are not all that new, but historically, really dual enrollment was for a very small elite group of students, historically speaking. The technical center, certainly has been one ramp that's always been there, and where co-op has been there for quite a while. The internship soon followed, but what we realized was we have more opportunities probably for the demographic that fits the traditional college bound, whatever that means. There are more people saying we can do this, we can do that, and really what we've tried to do over the last 2 or 3 or 4 years. And part of my goal in this role is to see if we can reach out to broader groups of students with more opportunities. And so we have worked with HAC, we've worked with Harrisburg University, and certainly even through the internship program, we can reach some of these partners. And so, as today we heard from just 3 of about 30 or so, or maybe more, internship students. We also have a cohort that goes over to HAC Midtown 3 days a week for a workforce development program. We have a cohort in the high school, actually, with someone coming from New Paths and Harrisburg University for an IT course in the high school. So preparing them, giving them, both of them lead to workplace certifications. I'm pretty creative with the schedule. I've tried to be flexible, but we had a young man this year who could never get into the CTC for welding. So we got him into HAC Midtown, but it's every Thursday, all year long. Well, the school schedules don't work that way. So do we say, no, we can't do this, or do we find a way to do it? We have found a way to do it. Now, we're doing it in a small sample, because that's a different lift for us than some of the other things. So, the goal here, as we worked through over the years through our vision, was to again, have senior year look more like where they're going, less like where they came from, give them a greater menu of options, and through our graduation project and our career development course, hopefully give them more guidance and direction in trying things out. And I'm so great to hear the students tonight. It's not about figuring out what you're going to do after high school. We know that that's just a myth that we cannot accomplish. It's not realistic. It's not even fair to them. The job market changes so rapidly. But if we can help them identify qualities and gain experiences and have opportunities to have students who can do dual enrollment and internship and have that flexibility to get an experience rather than trying to run somewhere and run back in 40 minutes so they get to their period 2 class at 8:45 in the morning, which is what we used to have to do. So we've got more work to do. The Elmwood Exploration Program was something Joe came to me at our administrative retreat previous summer ago and said, I'm hearing some of these ideas, what can we do? And the goal again is to get some students who don't see it in themselves. And if they never become a teacher, that's okay too, because there's a service element too that I think is being served when our students go back to the elementary or the middle school. And if that's all they do is go back and serve as role models and contribute to the school community where they came from, we've been pretty fortunate. And if they gain some other skills, well then all the better for them too. So. I don't want to steal any more of Joe's thunder or Joe's, but it's support of the board that has allowed us to enter into these partnerships and to have this kind of creativity instead of saying, well, we can't do that, saying, how would we do that, and then figuring that out. So I thank you for that, and I'll turn it back over to Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Appreciate his leadership. The role of somebody that's helping steer the external programming is crucial. I'm very honored to have that position at the high school. And it's good to have somebody that is helping see ahead strategically. And that's really important for me. We're running a big operation, and sometimes it's hard to get the head above the clouds a bit. And so when I have conversations with Mr. Harris about, hey, what do you think about this? That's usually how things start, right, Mr. Harris? What are your thoughts about that? It is extremely helpful because we get to see, a year out sometimes, 3 years out. I had some slides in here about the vision narrative, which I was a part of back in 2017. It's hard to believe that it's all those years back. But the only reason I share these couple slides, I'm not going to go through the whole document, is one, the team that was assembled to create the MASH vision, it was around the time contextually where the district was going through its own vision. Some of you were part of that experience. And then each building took apart its vision narrative. But I was one of many MASH members who was part of one of the committees for it. And I appreciate the introspection that team had, led by Mr. Harris back in 2017. But if you look at those areas, it's amazing to think now in 2025 almost, that a lot of the areas, curriculum assessment, the curriculum reflecting diverse needs, engaging and empowering students, the instruction that's bridging the world within the classroom, honoring students, thinking about the interests, thinking about our 3 students up here and their passions, that their instruction is motivating, empowering. Modality, think about the format of instruction delivery that with the pandemic really accelerated change You think about what we have now in terms of flexibility and choice for developmental needs, interest, and skill. And even now in 2024, how we're looking at different parts of our demographic to serve them. You heard Nick talk about the certification for firefighting. Mr. Harris talked about the hack step, where our students are getting certified in a number of credentials that are very lucrative in the market. People are interested in those. And then learning spaces, being flexible. I know you toured our beautiful building at the high school recently, and you can see how it's taking shape to serve learning spaces. One of the things that you may have been thinking is about, what are the seniors doing in the building? Is there any seniors in the building anymore? And there are, and it's really cool to engage with them. Actually, all 3 students I interacted with at school. Some of them have 1 class, 2 class. They come back for clubs, they come back for sports. And that's one of the things I'm excited about in the next 3-5 years, to think about the student life component. So while we're off campus, what does leadership like on campus? I'm really excited about how that will evolve. And of course, instructional time. Increasing independence and choice will be developed. And so I share these slides to say kudos to that team. Years back, the team was comprised of staff, students, the leaders. And now as we look to the next 10 years, 5, 7, 8 years, it's amazing to think about how this program is going to evolve. And so I'll conclude with Joe here. Going back to the beginning of that story, once upon a time, right? You never know, what we see in students, what we see in programs and systems and structures, the structures of the high school and our other programs. Things will develop over time, and it's exciting to see that. You're all part of that. So I'm going to turn it back to Joe.
So I started with the story, I'll end with the story. It's not Talia Cook this time. Now we'll talk about Maddie Hoover. Maddie Hoover's there on the left picture in the center, closest to my thumbs up there. So that's her at the 5th grade recognition service at Northside. I was her 3rd and 4th grade teachers as I looped up with her and her twin sister, Bella. Now fast forward to this past spring. And so there's Maddie and Bella graduating from MASH. And so there's me and Mr. Brown still there in the picture. She said, and I'll also say, so Maddie Hoover now on the far right in the second picture interned under Matt Brown in his 5th grade class. And she gave me this picture, and she said, but just wait, there will be the next picture, she said, will be in 4 years when you hire me. So I said, I'm ready, game on, let's do it. So thank you. The decisions you guys make, the programs you support, make all of this possible. So on behalf of Elmwood and MASH, thank you so much.
Well, what I would like to say is I've been on this board longer than the kids have been alive, but I have seen this program or this way of thinking develop over the last 20 years plus. And the #1 reason why I sit on the board still is to be a part of this of a community where we give all the kids the opportunity to find their passion. And I think that's exactly what you 3 gentlemen do, because now's the time to really hone, see, is this really my passion or not? Because then you don't have to change your major 4 times in college. So I can't thank you enough for doing this for the kids, because I think this is the most crucial thing that they've learned in 12, 13 years of school is, really finding their passion and being able to have the opportunity to go and explore it. So thank you. I love it.
I just want to add, sometimes what students need is just somebody to believe in them. And we're so used to having to do the work, when somebody says, what are you interested in? And just invest in them. That can set the whole direction of their life. So I think it's a super program. It's exciting to hear especially all the students that are involved with it. That's very exciting.
I'll just finish. Takes 2 parties. So first, gotta give a shout out to Maddie and Nick, and of course Pinch too, who I know had to leave. 2 of you I've known since you were very small and got to see you grow up in a very proud to see the work that you're doing, and one I've gotten to know a little bit better through my own kids, and just proud of the leadership that you show as well, Nick. So definitely it takes kids who are reflective and inspired, and that certainly comes from the staff as well, to be able to help them make those connections and ultimately have the kinds of opportunities that they've had. So kudos to you guys for your leadership in that. And it's pretty awesome to look at that vision and say that 7 years ago that was what was out there as a possibility, and here we are, and you have hit each of those. And that's not to suggest that we've arrived in any of those areas, but we've made amazing progress in each of those, and can't wait to see what the next 7 years have for us. So thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Pitts. Item 3.02, Cumberland Perry Area Career Technical Center report. Mr. Sanker had another obligation. He did not forward a report. He will catch us up at the November meeting. Item 3.03, Capital Area Intermediate Unit, Mr. Bradley.
Tough crowd to follow up on. So the board met on the 26th of September, covered a variety of topics. I will be forwarding to you a copy of the All-In. It's kind of the newsletter that is put out by the intermediate unit, talking about a lot of the different things that are going on. One of the interesting articles was they work with the Loysville Youth Development Center, and they have this program called Little Dresses for Africa. And so they have the students making dresses, sewing them, putting them together, and then packaging them up and sending them over for those in another continent that they never see that could use another set of clothing or something. So it's a great program to help continue with some of the work for those that are at the detention center, to kind of give back to and learn and adopt a different skill that they may not have necessarily had a chance to pick up before. They also talked about that speakers are coming back. Prior to COVID, the IU used to host several speakers for a variety of different topics. They are starting to bring those speakers back. This year, they had a speech language pathologist come in and talk and do a presentation on her skills and topics associated with that. They also talked about there are some different programs that are going on. There is one program that they're doing with Phoenix and building an environmental sciences and that aligns with the STEEL guidelines and everything. It's creating a program where there's a series of number of different lessons that they have to teach the fourth graders, and it's primarily fourth graders, about renewable energy, about environmental concerns, and other different aspects of science that they may not necessarily get in a standard science curriculum. So they continue to push that and expand that. And then, of course, there were a series of audits. One of the things that the IU says that they are fortunate and unfortunate is they are right across the river from the state capitol. So whenever there are any specific audits that the state wants to test drive or see how it goes, it's usually the this IU that gets picked to do those. So they find themselves doing a lot of audits, and I guess ESRA was a big audit that they went through recently. Did very well in it. He just said it was probably one of the most intensive audits he's seen in many, many, many years. So, and then as a board, we will get back together end of October. I don't have the exact date.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Bradley? Thank you for the report. 3.04, Wildcat Foundation report, Mrs. Huff.
The Wildcat Foundation is beginning to work on their second big fundraiser, which will be the Wildcat Foundation Night on Friday, February 21st. If you want to mark my calendars. following a similar theme as last year at the same location, so we're looking forward to that. And we have a board meeting this Friday.
Very good. And you will be there.
I will be there on Zoom, but I'll be there.
Any questions? Comments? Thank you, Mrs. Huff. 3.05 PSBA Legislative Report. I have no report this month. 3.06 Finance Facilities Committee Report. Mr. Sanker, we did not meet last month, so therefore he has no report. We'll move on to 3.07 Board President Report. As you see in your packet, the slate of officers for the PSBA for next year are up for election. It is uncontested. There's the right number of candidates for the right number of positions. So normally what we do here, unless if somebody has any comments or objections to any of those candidates, we'll just have the board secretary vote for the slate of officers as it's. So any discussion on the slate of candidates? Right, then we'll just go ahead and cast our vote, the ballot as a whole. So very good, thank you. Item 6, new business. Yes, 1 second. I'd also like to announcement of an executive session was held this evening at 6 p.m. for student safety and legal matters, and endorse the PSBA slate of candidates. Move on to item 6, new business, budget and finance. Item 6.01, treasurer's report. Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the treasurer's report as per the attachments, which include the following. Number 1 is the board budget report for September 2024. Number 2 is the general fund invoices, paycheck number 69250 through 69381 in the amount of $572,200.90. Number 3 is electronic payments in the amount of $8,015,126.89. Number 4 is the general fund invoices payable check number 69382 through 69395 in the amount of $1,277,158.18. Number 5 is the capital reserve fund invoices paid check number 1919 through 1920 in the amount of $186,032.75. Number 6 is the series of 2022 construction fund invoices paid check number 135 through 139 in the amount of $1,103,882.34. Number 7 is the series of 2023 construction fund invoices paid check number 274 through 283 in the amount of $864,957.75. Number 8 is the student activity / agency funds quarterly report for July through September 2024. And lastly, number 9 is the investment portfolio.
We have a second.
Second.
Any comments?
I have a question about the student activity fund. There's a line item 114 for water polo, about 20,000. That's been disbanded. What are the funds just going to remain there in case we start that water polo program again, or?
Yeah, I think probably what we would do is with student activity funds is kind of refer back to policy. I think it's a good question, by the way. Since we've disbanded water polo about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we should go back and look at that. I think without giving an answer at the moment, I think we would want to go back and look at policy and then also see if there is some discretion there, talk to some internal stakeholders as well about what to do next. So.
Any other discussion? Mrs. Swigert?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.02, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the transportation contract with BOYO Transportation for 2024 through 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.03, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to endorse the grant budgets for the 2024 through 2025 school year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 6.04, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the budget development calendar for the 2025 through 2026 budget process.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 6.05, Mr. Kickline.
I would like to ask the board to approve the tax policies report as presented in the attachments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 7, new business, curriculum. Item 7.01, Mrs. Huff.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the student services contracts as presented in the attachment.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 7.02, Mrs. Huff.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the settlement and release agreement between the district and parents of a student.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
I'd like to recuse myself from this vote.
You're abstaining?
Abstaining. Yep.
Item 9, new business, personnel. Item 9.01, Mr. Bradley.
And ask the board to approve the personnel report as per the attachments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 11, new business, policy. Item 11.01, Mr. Frangel.
I ask the board to adopt the agreement and waiver of hearing before the board of directors between the parent, student, and the board, and the terms and conditions set forth therein. Direct the superintendent to place said agreement in students' education records. Authorize the superintendent to act on behalf of the board in implementing the agreement and order the expulsion of the following student. Student D of 2024-25, beginning September 24th, 2024, for 1 calendar year.
With a second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I hate this. I hate when we have to do this, but I really like the way the school really takes the student and their interests at heart. So I think we all do. I think this is a really terrible part of the job, but I can stand behind. I feel like as a school district, we do whatever we can to support all children that are involved in these instances. So.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Swigert.
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the roll call as unanimous vote.
Item 12, chairing of visitors. We have reached the second opportunity for public comment. This opportunity is reserved for comments on issues not listed on the agenda and not being voted upon this evening. As a reminder, public comment is limited to residents and taxpayers of the school district. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and requires community members to observe a reasonable decorum. If you'd like to address the board, please come up to the podium, share your name and the municipality in which you reside. This is for issues that were not on the agenda being voted on tonight. Any public comment? Seeing none, item 13, Ms. Morgan.
I would like to ask the board to adjourn.
We have a second.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. Julie.
One.